So, during the campaign and a few other times, and actually, we plebs that are non NPCs told people to learn to code. Joe Biden told coal miners, again, which is amazing, learn to code. Because, times are changing, your jobs are going to go away, and you just need to learn a new skill, learn to code. And then, journalists were all getting fired, and that we told them learn to code. Why? Because that's what they said to the coal miners. Y'all just need to learn to code. Well, I thought I'd take the time to give a little perspective to why this is offensive, stupid, and shows the ignorance of the people that seem to think they know technology in some fashion, but really probably fucking don't. They're dumb. They're very, 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 very dumb. So, allow me to give you some perspective on this. So, how can I put it? I thought of a great analogy, but first let me give you some background here. I've been doing IT since I was a little kid. In 96, so yes, I'm going to date myself a little bit here. 96, 97, I actually did tech support. That was one of my first jobs straight out of high school. Yes, 96 is when I got out of high school. I've been working in various technical fields for 20 years. There's only a few times that I ever did a job that's not really surrounded by tech in some sort. Just because I was required to. Ironically, it was when I was starting to live around the streets. So, quite literally, I was homeless. So, I took some jobs that weren't tech just so I could have some food to eat. Well, you gotta do what you can, right? At least I wasn't selling drugs or something stupid. Anyways, I digress. So, I've been doing IT forever. I even taught college once I got past my master's and was working on a PhD. I was at the position where I could teach some college courses, so I did. And there is an underlying assumption that if you can do technology, if you're working computers like I do, that you can code. You can straight up code. And I was recently put in a position where they're shifting jobs and doing some stuff. And then I was put into a developer's position, coding, essentially. Now, don't get me wrong, I can do it. And to an extent, pretty much anyone can do it now because Google is your friend. If you don't know how to do something, you just search it and pretty much copy paste. I mean, if you can know how to copy paste. So I thought I'd give a little perspective on what it would be like for a journalist and or a coal miner to learn to code, what that really entails. I'm going to break it down for you. But first, let me break it down for you what that means. So I like to put it that there's three different kind of specialties within IT. There's the system, there's infrastructure, and then there's coding. System people are the guys that they grant access. You need a new account. They may set up your desktop machine. They know a little bit about hardware and how to plug things in as far as things go, like plugging your monitor in, getting it to work, connecting it to the right stuff, getting your logins to work, that kind of thing, right? So they understand how to get you up and running so you can do your job at your desk or wherever you may work. Infrastructure people are the ones that make the back work. So while the system guy can get whatever you're doing working, everything that connects everything in the back end that you never see, the stuff like for you guys at home, it'd be like the guys, simply, you get the Comcast or you get the AT&T or whoever your internet guy is to come up and run the cable to your house. And then he gets the modem and plugs it in for you. And then you get plugged into the computer. Well, that is the infrastructure. He's also running that cable from your house, actually goes into like a central hub. And it's the cable box. It's, it looks like a big transformer box sitting outside. If you ever see the inside of it, it's got hundreds of lights and little switches and cables kind of going everywhere. That is an infrastructure guy. All that infrastructure in your little hub goes to a central hub, like a main office. And that's got a big ass room full of wires and connecting switches and just cables plugging in. Think like the old patchboard operator back in the day when telephones didn't have digital. You saw the ladies, you'd call 0 and they'd like, operator, and can you connect me to so-and-so? And you'd see them drag your 2 cables. One would be for you, wherever they plugged you into, and the other one would be between them, whoever you're trying to talk to, so they just kind of know who's where, and then they plug those 2 guys in, so you'd see them go, and then they grab the other cable, and then they go to the next person, operator, and they do that. Well, that an infrastructure guy sets that up, but he's not the operator. He's the one that plugs all the things in, and then it just works. Sometimes breaks because cables go bad. You get some weird things going on. But yeah, the infrastructure guy does that. So in my particular career, I've done both of those. I'm better at systems than I am infrastructure, but I could do both. I'd struggle with infrastructure a little bit because the back end stuff, there's some nuance and things there that it's more mathematical than systems. Systems more abstract. You can have 100,000 programs. You can figure out how they work, where it fails, and that fun stuff. Anyways, the third realm, programming, coding, if you will. That is math in art form. Imagine taking the Mona Lisa. But the Mona Lisa is a bunch of scripted code. How would you write a script to automatically create the Mona Lisa? Think about that. All the paint, the artwork, the nuance, the color, the direction of the eyes, the shaping of the face, the hair, the background, the type of canvas, the type of colors, the off colors, everything, the shading, all of it. Written in lines of code. It's similar to like writing a book. So the analogy I gave somebody recently is, say you can write, right? You could write tweets, maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe you can write one of the Tilder books that you'll see on social media. You're pretty good at writing tweets. You're really good at writing little stuff like that. Or blogs. Let's even step it up. You write a blog. It might be, 3,000 words. So short essays, basically. You are now commissioned to paint, or, we'll keep it in writing, so I'm not going to confuse things. You are now commissioned to write something that will defeat The Stand in both volume and artistry. Stephen King's The Stand. The unabridged version of The Stand is 1,800 pages long. So it's a big-ass fucking novel. And it goes into great detail about the end of the world and the second coming of the sword. I mean, it's a good and evil fight, and it's pretty interesting. It's very nuanced. It's got a reoccurring theme that comes up in it all the time. It's very well planned and thought out. And it's a work of art. So back to the painting analogy. Say you're a doodler. Maybe you can, draw a few characters. Sometimes you can, find a template online or something and sketch something out, so you basically trace it so you can figure out how to draw something. And you are now commissioned to repaint the Sistine Chapel. Wall to wall, end to end. Perfectly. The whole damn thing. You've never done anything that's oil painting before. You've never done anything remotely close to it before. But you're damn well going to do it. So, in IT, a systems and an infrastructure guy, while knowing how to doodle, knowing how to write scripts and things that need to make other things work, would not be able to code fully developed applications. It'd be like asking a guy that knows how to plug in and make your computer work after it breaks, write Microsoft Office for me. The whole suite. Just do it. It's not going to happen. Programming is literally an art form, in my view. Other people that have noticed see it the same way. They don't see numbers and math the same way. To be specific, coders are extremely good in algebra because most of code is Boolean logic, which is if then else, do where, do while, for loops, that kind of thing. Select in a case of, there's a thing called select case. So the case is a statement, and then there's like 5 or 6 options to that statement depending on what you choose, right? All that kind of stuff. They'd have to know all of it. Yeah, Boolean logic and math. Yeah, that's the rudimentary. That's easy to figure out. Every language, programming language, would be like, okay, so you learn English, but do you know American English, Australian English, British English, Ugandan English, Nigerian English, South African English, Canadian English? To anybody that knows the differences between these languages, you're seeing the nuance. There's slightly different English settings, right? Slightly different ways they phrase things, slightly different nuances and stuff that they say within each language. Well, learning different languages is pretty much the same thing. They all function in Boolean logic. They all function in algebra. Sometimes they use some other things depending on what their use case is. But essentially, you're asking somebody to be able to speak perfectly in each of the different variations of English. To give you another analogy, within my position, I've been asked to go back to development. Even I, a veteran of 20 years in technical jobs, to the point that I've been management and whatnot for a very long time. Even project team lead and stuff like that in bigger companies. I am not a developer. I would not be able to sit down and start programming. It's not even easy for me to do. I could do it. It would take me 6 months to get acclimated, maybe a year. I hate to toot my horn a little bit, but I am really freaking good at IT stuff. I'm quite smart when it comes to this stuff. But even then, I lack the confidence and the ability to code. I can do it, and I can go find stuff on the internet and steal it, and then tweak it a little bit to make it work. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work good. But beyond that, my skills are limited. So when you ask a person like a coal miner or a journalist who has never so much as known how to plug in a computer except for the instructions that came in the box, to go and learn algebra and then learn this new language and learn this new math and then get good at it, you're asking 5 to 10 years commitment. That's like going back to school. Could you imagine going back to school just to learn a new skill and hope and then expect it to be competitive with everyone else that already studied that, been doing it forever, and can do it in their sleep? You're not going to be competitive on that kind of front. So I thought I'd give a little perspective. Learn to code. Why people are offended at it. Even us in IT that have never done development, we can step into that role a lot easier than a coal miner or a journalist could. But even us few that know, well, us many, I guess, us in the profession of IT know that learning to code is not easy as people make it sound to be. It is nowhere close. It is a difficult job, and it is an art form. Once upon a time, I used to be a systems guy for EA. Yes, EA Games. Don't judge, all right? Don't judge. I did their networking. I set up their servers for code compilation. I made a code farm for them, MP3 server, and a few other things, right? I handled their email systems. I handled their phones. I handled all that shit. when they started talking about coding and trying to decipher what they were writing, I was fucking lost. I didn't understand it. And the thing with game coding is you're not just taking the simple Boolean logic, if then else, and all that fun stuff. They apply geometry, they apply physics, they apply a bunch of other things to make realism in the game a thing. Not only that, you got to plan trajectory. Like if you're doing a shooter, you got to plan trajectory, you got to plan impact. Frame rate, lag, and all that fun stuff has to be calculated into what you're doing so that the realism isn't lost, even if you lag a little bit. Of course, lag pisses people off, but whatever. And gamer programming defies like a credo, if you will, of programming. Never write an infinite loop. Well, every game is an infinite loop until the game's ended. From the start to finish of it. That's a big no-no. Oh, looks like people are waking up. Anyways, I'll end it there. The learn to code thing is more of an insult than people realize. Not even IT people can cross over and do coding as easily as everyone else thinks. So to ask somebody like a journalist or a coal miner or something like that to learn to code, other people have said you're asking them to do something you've never do. Well, to put it into context, you're asking somebody who doodles to paint the Sistine Chapel or revamp all the paintings in the Louvre or something like that. Anyways, I'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you next time.
I've completed my work. Time for me to go.